Okay, so tonight's practice, we're just going to start in a comfortable seat. So if you want to go ahead and maybe grab a pillow or something to sit on, or just kind of however you feel comfortable. From here, we will be going into a position where you might need a pillow. So if you have your bolster or any kind of pillow, just have it kind of close to you. You might not need it, but always a good option to have one. So just make yourself comfortable. If you want to cross the legs, if you want to have them straight out in front of you, just wherever your body feels kind of accessible today. Just noticing if anything's a little tight or sensitive, kind of just honoring your body. And then when you're ready, we're just going to have a relaxed position with the arms. So if you can, have the palms facing up towards the sky. And if you're using the playlist, just press play as soon as you're ready. Okay, when you feel comfortable, if you can close down the eyelids tonight, or even just taking the gaze down towards the ground if you're kind of not ready to close the eyes yet. And then just as usual, have its really kind of subtle roll of the shoulders, just this really little maneuver of the shoulders all the way back and down. So you just start to get a little more space through the heart and chest. And maybe you just start to take some kind of deeper breaths in and out of the nose, just settling yourself straight into your body. And then inviting a little bit of stillness here to start our practice. So we'll have kind of a few of the stronger poses to start. So I'm just going to take a moment here to kind of gather in. So kind of bringing your attention to the top of your head. We'll take a journey kind of down the body tonight. So as you start to scan from the top of your head down to the eyebrows, making sure they're relaxed and not frowning. To the corners of the eyes, soften in there and through the eyelids. And down to the nose. And to the corners of the lips, you might give yourself a smile and then relax them down. Releasing the tongue and the jaw, bringing in a bit of freedom to the entire face. And as you soften down the shoulders just that tiny bit more, then your attention goes through your biceps, the forearms, to the tips of the fingers. If you find your fingers kind of crunching up, allow a bit of space there, relax them down. And then you might take a long breath out as you soften into your chest, your ribs, down to your belly. And then any tension you're holding into your thighs, your calf muscles, the soles of the feet, and down to the toes. Holding yourself in this really still place of just noticing all these little tiny parts of your body and bringing them to that relaxed, balanced state. And bringing your attention into your breath. So just breathing lightly in and out of the nose. We're going to begin with kind of a equal breath of in for 4 and out for 4. If this is too much for you, feel free to lessen the count. Otherwise, take a soft breath in through the nose and all the way out. And we breathe in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and let it all go. 2, 3, 4. One more slow breath in, 2, 3, 4, and let it go. 2, 3, 4. And just coming back to your slow, natural breath. We can stay in and out of the nose, keeping the body calm, the nervous system nice and relaxed. Okay, when you feel ready, just gonna open the eyes. And we're gonna begin tonight's practice in a yogic squat, but we're gonna start super gentle. So if you could begin, two options. You can either sit onto a bolster or you can sit onto the ground. So whatever's kind of more accessible for you. But we're just taking a real kind of easy version of a yogic squat. So you're taking the feet out nice and wide, opening the hips, and then that same thing of bringing your hands to your center at your heart, and then the elbows in towards the creases of the knees. So you can sit on the ground or onto a pillow, whatever feels a little bit more kind of stable for you. And then we're keeping a lot of length through the spine just to start with. So staying nice and upright. So a little bit more of kind of energy to start the practice. So again, you can kind of either just take the eyelids down and take the gaze towards the floor. You can close the eyes. But just as we started, have a little subtle roll of the shoulders all the way back. And there's just this little bit of energy in the palms of your hands at the center of your heart. This is where we're gathering everything in tonight. So we're trying to find that kind of center point, that balance of everything. So the light versus dark, the hot versus cold, the strong versus soft, even the tight versus open. So every kind of opposing opposites, we're finding that somewhat balance and acceptance of all of it tonight. Whether you have negative versus positive thoughts, just allowing it to all come in. So we're going to stay just a little bit longer in this variation. And then there will be that option to take it a little further if the hips are feeling ready for it. But just take a couple more breaths here. If you are feeling ready and you want to go into a full yogic squat and you have the space, you might just lift yourself up off of the pillow, but we're still keeping that kind of energy in the legs here. So if you start to dip down and sink into your hip joints, see if you can push into your feet a little more. So even into the outer edge, the blade edge of your feet, just so we're not kind of rolling into the joints. But then with the spine this time, if you want a little bit more of a deeper stretch, you can start to crawl your hands forward a little. So it's okay if you round through the spine here. It's just going to get a little bit more intense through the hips. They're a bit tight, but just stay with whatever option, whether you're sitting on the ground, a pillow, or hovering in space. And then wherever you are, if you're craving a little bit of movement, you can kind of play with a little bit of a kind of pulse through the spine of straightening, lengthening, and rounding. So you might play with lifting the chest on a breath in and then softening the chest down as you breathe out. But that part's completely optional. Just kind of stay with whatever you feel tonight. Coming in and out of any variations if you need. Keeping a little bit of energy through the legs. And again, that slow, steady breath. Floating in and out of the nose. Finding your balance. Finding that full acceptance of every part of your body, every part of your mind. Finding our version of calm. And take 3 last breaths wherever you are. Okay. If your hands are on the ground, just gently bring them to your heart. If you're floating in space, slowly just sit yourself down onto a pillow or the ground. And then we're just going to come into a little cosmic egg. So however you get there, bring your knees together and then in towards your chest. Just take a moment if the hips are feeling a little sensitive, and then wrap your arms around your legs. And then we want to bow the forehead in and down towards the knees or your chest. And even just relaxing the neck as much as that feels comfortable here. And with these counter poses, these kind of relaxing poses, always knowing you can hold these as long as you need to. So if you need a little longer to kind of feel into your sensations and notice everything that's moving around through the muscles and that connective tissue, just taking your time. Okay, slowly rolling back up through the spine. And then just releasing the hold of your legs. You're going to come straight into a caterpillar today. So legs straight out in front of you with the heels together. If you want to go ahead and use any blocks or bolsters, anything under the knees, block on top of the knees, both building a tower, hugging a bolster, all the different options. And then just take your time in your own pace tonight. Whenever you're ready, take a smooth breath out and slowly fold your body in half as far as it'll go. Your point where you find your edge, where you can round into the spine, into the shoulders, and then slowly let the neck release. Feel that physical top of your head tip all the way down to the mat. And then just being nice and gentle with yourself tonight, as these are kind of strong poses to start with. So just let your body ease into it. We'll stay here a little longer. A reminder to come into full acceptance. So if the muscles are feeling a little tender or a little tight, maybe just backing off a little tonight and allowing yourself, your body to naturally get there. And trying to come to that point of equanimity where we can have that sense of calm even when we're in that kind of difficult positions. Halfway through here. So if your body wants to go a little further, feel free to release props, add props in, whatever you need here. And even just having that extra challenge tonight to stay a little more gentle with yourself. And maybe seeing where that takes you. And a lot of the time there's always this desire to push to keep going, to kind of force into things. Maybe taking a different approach of just slowing it down a little more. Got 1 more minute here. If there's tension in the shoulders, allow them to round a little more. If there's tension in the neck, tuck the chin in a little more. And letting go of any hold through the jaw and the muscles surrounding the face. And let's take 1 more big breath in through the nose and out. And then just in your own time, nice and slowly, to roll yourself all the way up. That's as gentle as you can. All the way back up to a nice straight spine. Beautiful. Okay, take your hands behind you, just your fingers pointing back, drawing the shoulders open. Your choice if you want to keep the legs extended. If you want to have a bend in the knees, you can just ground the feet, bend the knees, and then just start to arch the spine a little. So lift the chest up nice and high, squeezing the shoulder blades in nice and close. And then if you want to let the neck go, that part is completely optional, only if it feels really good and kind of spaciousness through the neck and the throat. And I'm just going to hold here. Feeling that nice opening through the front line of the body, fronts of the shoulders, the heart, maybe the belly. And that contrast of being inwards and curled up versus being open and bright. And take 1 more breath. And if your neck has released, slowly bring the chin back in. And just crawling the hands back in. Okay, straddle forward fold is where we're going next. So really hitting the big one straight away. So take your legs out as wide as that your body's going to allow you tonight. And then we're just going to fold straight into it. So if you do want to grab a pillow to lie down onto, if you want to use blocks, any props you have are super helpful. You can grab a water bottle if you don't have anything else. Anything that's just going to add a little bit of support. So you can always just pop the elbows up, support the head in a prayer position, or if you can lower all the way down, go for it. Or if this is enough, through your hamstrings, through the legs, through the groin, you can always just tuck the chin in and just bring a little bit of softness through the neck. And then just noticing here, if you have a lot of tension in your legs and you hold a lot of tightness there, just give your toes and your feet a little wiggle. And maybe even the legs a little wiggle, just releasing any tension in the lower body. And if you're crawling yourself all the way down, however you find this position. Taking those slow, deep breaths. Noticing if the body has tensed up again, if the legs are tightening, if the shoulders are tightening. Take a really full breath in through the nose as deep as you can, and maybe parting the lips as you breathe out. See what tension you can physically release from your body. And letting it all go, releasing it out. A little bit longer here, we're just over halfway. So if your body wants to go a little further, or if you need to back off, listening to your body. Finding that full sense of peace and calm for wherever you're at. Whatever thoughts are coming in, whether it's a to-do list, whether it's your schedule, whether it's things that you don't really want to be thinking, just allow it to come in and out. Knowing any pain, any thoughts, everything's going to pass. One more minute. If you are coming back to your breath, just 3 more here. Just 3 more breaths in and out at your own pace. And when you finish that final breath, letting it go on the empty breath, come all the way back up to your seat, to your long, straight spine. And just taking your time to feel all those kind of juicy sensations that are floating around. And then just popping any props that you're using away to the side. And then making sure to do this nice and gentle. We have been there quite a long time. So just grabbing the backs of the knees and bending one knee in at a time. And then we'll come into a cosmic egg just for a moment. So wrap your arms around the legs. And if you could just stay seated up nice and tall, just to get a little more length in the spine. If you want to close the eyes, that option's always there and inviting to just kind of keep tuning out that outside sense. And then just holding here. So seated here in this tiny little egg. Now return back to our full equal breath, just 3 rounds. So take a deep breath in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4. Last time in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4. Okay, take your hands behind you. Again, fingers pointing back. A little puff up of the chest. And then just windscreen wipe the legs. So just bring a little circulation back down all the way to the tips of the toes. So if you need to give the toes a wriggle, you need to circle the ankles, any kind of movement here that you feel like you need, take a bit of space here to just move. Okay, our next position we're coming into is our deer pose. So shifting onto kind of your right sitting bone, the right leg's going to start in front and the left leg behind. So depending what variation you're taking, you might have the 90-degree angle with the leg. So left knee in line with the hip, right knee in line with the right hip, and go for that full 90-degree. Otherwise, you can bring the feet closer in towards your body if that's a little more gentle. If you have any issues with your knees and this doesn't work, feel free to go for reclining pigeon, lying in on your back. Same thing. So whatever option you want to go for here. If you're in the full deer, in the seated position, you might want to grab blocks or bolsters, anything in front of you, and take your breath in to fill up. And then, your nice releasing breath out to fold yourself down in whatever way that is for you. And just knowing if you start in one pose and then you don't like that option and want to go to another one, you can move around and explore any positions that work for you. Especially knowing that some days are going to be different to others. Some days it works and some days it doesn't. And just being really gentle with the knees here. So if you find too that you're kind of lifting through your hips a little, if you have a blanket, it's always super helpful to sit onto a blanket for this one. And if you need any padding underneath the knees, I always like to really encourage being nice and gentle with deer pose. Staying a little bit longer in each pose tonight to allow a little bit more depth into each pose, a little bit more space through the body. And to bring in that patience to get deep into those deeper layers of the muscles. Just noticing here if there's any tension in the legs. I always find that it's natural for me to flex the feet. So if that's happening for you, let the feet go. Or if the thighs and glutes are tightening, freeing up that space. And always those sensitive spots, the shoulders, the jaw, between the eyebrows. And go over every bit of tension that you can. sensations flowing through your body, and the energy moving around and tingling and pulsing. You notice at every feeling. And then we keep coming back to that sense of calm that's kind of centered around your breath. But really simple and slow breath floating in and out of the nose. We've just got one more minute here, so just a little bit longer. Allowing your body to explore that space. You take a final breath in and out. And we start to lift in your own time. A gentle roll up through your spine, coming all the way back up to your seat. And then supporting the back leg in to meet your right. So bring both legs together. And then if you want to just extend them out in front of you and give your knees a gentle kind of pitter patter on the ground. So we're bringing that circulation back into the legs. And just give them a nice little shake. And then coming to a still point after you've kind of moved them around enough. Sitting up nice and tall. Bring your hands to your heart, but one palm over the other. So resting on your heart space. Relax into the shoulders. Keeping the eyes closed. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And out. And just two more like that. A simple breath in. Let it go. One last one. Smooth breath in. And out. Okay, our last seated fold. So coming over to your other side. So the left knee bends in front of you. The right knee bends behind you. And then again, just knowing you can bring them in, out, grab any props, or there's always the option to go into reclining pigeon. So just take your time, in your own time, whenever you're ready, whenever you're adjusted, whenever you've got all your support, to lower yourself down into your version of a fold. So wherever that is, knowing with deer, if you kind of go slightly more over towards your left knee, that's perfectly fine. You don't need to be straight, especially if the glutes and hips are a little tight. And just as you settle in, you bring that wave of awareness into your body. So relaxing into the feet, the ankles, even a little bit softer through the calf muscles and the thighs. Moving your way through your body all the way to the crown of the head. And you just allow yourself to kind of drop into the pose. thoughts come and go. Letting the sensations come and go. Being in your own space. Tuning out from everything that's happening around you and staying completely centered in yourself. We're halfway through, so if you need to adjust, feel free to adjust. If you need to come out and in, take whatever you need here. Thirty more seconds. See if you can focus on your breath for that full 30 seconds. And how it feels, where it's traveling to, the fullness of the breath, the pace of the breath. Okay, last breath in and out. And take your time to bring yourself back up to your seat. Again, we've been there quite a long time, so just take your time, move it at your pace. Moving any props away to the side. Bringing both knees in together, so support the legs. And then we're just going to head straight down onto our backs. So if you want to go ahead, make sure you've got a clear space, your props are to the side. And just lay yourself down, and this is going to be our nice counter pose where we can soften into. So take the legs all the way flat and straight to the mat. Relax your arms down by your sides. Even let the toes fall to the sides. Like you're heading into Shavasana, but not quite yet. Nearly there. But just finding that complete relaxed state. Just in the pelvis, if the back is pinching at all. Shuffling the shoulders down. And just breathing, allowing yourself to feel all those movements through the body. Notice if there's sensations through the palms of your hands and fingers. Maybe even the soles of the feet. Or some tingling. Maybe there's some sensitivity around any of your muscles. Coming in with that full acceptance of just whatever is here right in this moment. In your body, in your surroundings, in your breath. Okay, I'm going to head into a reclining twist. So if you want to bend your knees, ground your feet, and then two options with the arms. If you want to either just take your arms out to the side into a regular T shape with your palms up, or if you want to go for cactus arms for a little more opening across the chest, you can bend at the elbows, fingers pointing up, but just whatever feels more comfortable for you. Walk the feet out towards the long edges of the mat so the hips are a little more open. And then we'll go to the left first. So slowly lower your knees down towards the left. And then you can stay here if you need some props underneath either of the knees, or if you want to go for that option to lift your left foot and place it on top of your right thigh. That option's there. But if you do feel any twinging in your right knee, just bring the foot back down and add any support in, especially if there's any sensitivity in the knees. And then you might turn your gaze in the opposite direction. Take one more breath in and out. If your left foot is lifted, slowly just lower it down and gently bring your knees back up to the sky. And we're just going to hold here in that central position just for a couple breaths. So if you want to lower your arms down to the ground or to your body, wherever you feel comfortable, allow yourself to just stay still for a moment to recenter, to let everything just kind of flow through the body. Okay, taking your arms back out to the sides, either a T shape or a cactus. Widening the legs so the feet walk out to the long edges. Your knees will slowly drift over towards the right side. And then again, any props or block under either of the knees. And you can always lift the right foot and place it on top of your left thigh. I always find it helpful to have a prop underneath the lifted knee. As usual, if this twist doesn't work for you and you want to just bring the knees together, that option's always there. And you can turn the head to the left, a little more space through the right side of the neck. And just noticing if you want to keep opening the eyes, see what it feels like to keep the eyes closed. Now, Yin practice is that opportunity to go within. to keep the focus completely on kind of your internal side. And the releasing of the muscles, movement of the energy, the movement of the breath, the watching of the thoughts, everything that's inside you. Your right foot's lifted, slowly lower it back down to the mat and gently bring your knees back up to the sky, slowly rolling onto your back. And then again, just a neutral position, so relax your arms. You might knock the knees together, it takes a bit of pressure off the lower back. You can always take your legs out straight wherever you feel comfortable. Bringing that stillness, that comfortability. And let those sensations flow. And let this be the time where everything moves and shifts around. Okay, slowly when you're ready, bring your knees in towards your chest, nice and tight. And then the hands will come to the tops of the knees, our last position. Take your knees out towards the sides, so towards the armpits. And then your choice, if you wanted to stay here, if the hips have kind of had enough attention today, feel free to just stay here. Otherwise, the option to go for a full happy baby. It won't be here for too long, but a little bit longer than usual. But taking the feet up towards the sky. You can always grab the soles, you can grab the calf muscles, the knees, whatever's accessible for you. And kind of just realizing that this is a laying down squat. So this should feel quite familiar. And if you want to sway and rock, that option's always there. Bringing in a little bit of subtle movement. Or if you love the hamstring release, feel free to straighten the legs if you like that option. And just a little bit longer here. Notice if there's tension in the back of the neck, the chin will be kind of reaching up to the sky, so you can slowly draw that back in. Few more breaths. Slowly letting go of the feet. You can bring your knees into your chest just one last time. Hug everything in nice and tight. yourself a big cuddle and squeeze. And then take your time to slowly let your legs drift all the way down to the mat for Shavasana. So any layers, any blankets, anything you need. Make yourself completely comfortable here. Let your arms relax down by your sides. Allow the eyelids to be closed. And then once you've found your position, bring your attention back to your breath just for a little longer. Breathing in and out of the nose. Filling up and letting go. Finding that balance of everything, your center point, light and dark, good and bad, strong and soft, energetic, that's tired. Everything's meeting in the middle. And following your breath as you allow yourself to drift away, to float, to fly, to just be. Gentle awareness back to the breath, back into every bit of the body. You might lightly and slowly move your fingers and your toes. And just to begin to move in any way Feels really gentle and releasing. Nice big stretch. Roll of the head side to side. Just take your time to move. And if you want to roll to one side, always a nice space. Just gonna hold yourself there for a second without rushing, just moving slowly. And whenever you're ready, finding your way back to your seat. Gather your hands together at your heart center. Just taking a moment to kind of stay in your really centered position. You can feel maybe that subtle pulse of your heart against your thumbs. Relax all of the muscles in the face and the tongue. Take one final smooth breath in through the nose and let it go. Bow your head to your hands and to your heart. Thank you for joining me this evening. Namaste.